The shady business of Samsung related to its Note 7 version is unheard of. No media dared to talk about that. But today in this video, we'll see the dark side of this multinational company. Every Samsung user has the right to know about this. Are you guys excited? Let's not waste any more time. Samsung was not a multinational company when it started. It sold vegetables, dried fish, and noodles, but there was notable progress happening each year. This is when we look around, we can see at least one Samsung gadget in our household. It could be your LED TV, refrigerator, smartphone, computer, laptop, or even your headset. Not just that, hospitals, roads, and even skyscrapers are there to Samsung's credit. Do you know Samsung has an aerospace unit that produces helicopters and tanks for defense purposes? Before going into the details of how Samsung became a powerful trader in the world market, we have to understand the birth of Samsung. Lee Byung-chul founded Samsung in 1938, when he was just 28. He came into the business after he got a sudden realization that he was wasting his life. That was when he could not find out the purpose of his life. Do you know what Samsung means? It means 3 stars. But why not 5 stars? It's because in Korea, 3 has significant importance. It signifies something big and powerful, and the star symbolizes longevity. Lee started his business by taking baby steps, but he had a wider view. This is the reason behind the name Samsung. Samsung is indeed big, powerful, and everlasting in the business world, but it has sure faced many issues. The Korean War was one such barrier. Lee's business found a huge loss during that period. After the war, the entire country faced considerable commodity shortages. That is when Lee's business mind started working. Korea was completely dependent on imports at that time, so Lee decided to create affordable commodities for the public of his country. This idea started with the sugar refinery. Then, with the refinery's profit, he built the largest woolen mill in Korea. This is how Samsung entered the textile industry. Diversification became a business tool for Lee after that. Profit from one firm, he diversified it into another one, like that of insurance companies or departmental stores. Do you know something? Even today, Samsung is the largest insurance provider in South Korea. Lee Byung-chul was the richest man in South Korea. His net worth was only growing, and the graph showed no decline. Then in 1968, Samsung held an executive meeting. In that meeting, they took a game-changing decision in the history of the Samsung Group. Can you give a guess? Samsung decided to enter into a new market: electronics. Today, even one of us recognizes Samsung as an electronics company only. Now onwards, we'll see a different story. A year later, Samsung made their first ever television, a 12-inch black and white one. Before hitting the following decade, they became the world's #1 black and white TV manufacturer. As we said before, Lee never ends up experimenting. He loves diversifying his company. Later in 1979, Samsung started producing microwaves. Then in 1980, there came Samsung air conditioners, and in 1981, it introduced color TVs. Computers created a great impact on our society and economy. Today, everything is computerized, and Samsung computers are incredibly credible. They started making them in 1983. Today, we all know Samsung smartphones have their processors, but this wasn't the case at the beginning. They were using all of these imported chips and processors, so they decided to buy one such semiconductor company to hold full control over their products. Later, they started to export these components to other companies. Even the prestigious Apple iPhones use Samsung memory chips. But these two companies are known rivals in the smartphone industry. Why are they holding hands? We'll come to that later. When you hear the word Samsung, the thing that comes to your mind are smartphones and other gadgets, but Samsung is beyond that. Samsung Heavy Industries build huge ships, becoming one of the mega ship builders worldwide. Another such example is Samsung Construction and Trading. They make roads, tunnels, and buildings. The Samsung Group built the tallest building in the world, Burj Khalifa. The previous topper, Petronas Twin Tower, was also constructed by them. Samsung owns parks in Korea and even a smart town. What we know about Samsung is just the outer layer. Many other firms are working under this empire. Some non-profit ones include Samsung Medical Center, Samsung's University, etc. But there are some controversial realities that are worth knowing. Let us move into that. South Korea faced the worst reality after the Korea War. The economy was under destruction since no exports were possible. So the president decided to support the larger companies from competition to build the country's economy. This included Samsung too. One such measure was that South Korea banned Japan from selling electronics to the country. This was a great help to Samsung Electronics. Moreover, the government reduced the tax to about 50% for electronics companies. The thing was that Samsung was already a well-off company by that time. Besides that, this support gave them a boost. The American after-war relief money was directed toward the welfare. Another reason behind these benefits was the good relationship between Lee and the South Korean presidents. But this was never good for the companies because Samsung could crush any other companies entering the market. This means Lee became a symbol of political corruption. Due to the over-support of the government to South Korea, the nation's economy depended solely on a single company. So if something is bad for Samsung, then it will affect the economy. In a 2014 study, it was found that about 17% of the nation's economy depends on Samsung. In South Korea, the power, influence, and wealth are distributed to certain families, Samsung being the largest one. Lee Byung-chul died in 1987. After that, his son Lee Kun-hee took over the empire. Later in 1996, Lee Kun-hee was found bribing one of the former presidents. But the then president pardoned him because of his political influence. In 2008, he was found holding a political slush fund to bribe politicians and prosecutors. He was found guilty on some tax fraud. But within 2 years, he was out of jail. That was how much power Samsung had in politics. Samsung and the South Korean government had a tight connection. Then his son became the head of the company. Nobody else in Korea had the guts to raise their voice against Samsung, because in a way, it was the same as standing against Korea. No media wrote badly about Samsung, but we have something to show you. In an article titled, South Korea, the Republic of Samsung, the author says that the chairman of Samsung is more powerful than the president of South Korea. Moreover, many people in Korea consider Samsung above the law. This shows the company's influence on the government and the country. All of us can read about the success story of Samsung. But here, we will talk about that unheard shady business of Samsung. 2016 was not a favorable year of Samsung electronics. Can you say why? Multiple incidents of Samsung phone explosions have been reported in that year. Airlines soon banned this phone from their flights. People feared that their Samsung phones could kill them anytime soon. At first, it did not affect the company much, but since such incidents happened again, media worldwide started publishing them. So Samsung reviewed their products. That was a $5 billion loss for Samsung. The other loss was their reputation that has been built over the years, but the worst part was that the replaced one also showed overheating problems. But what happened to these Samsung phones? Initially, the company blamed it on the batteries, but it was not just the battery. Every component in the Samsung Note 7 is tightly packed without breathing space. Samsung and Apple are well-known rivals. In 2011, Apple blamed Samsung for copying its model. Steve Jobs publicly called Samsung a copycat. Apple even demanded billions of dollars for this. Samsung was reluctant to accept this. The company executives were determined to create something new. That is how the Samsung Galaxy was born, a cross between smartphone and tab. But the Note 7 production faced a very critical deadline, hence the production was taking place in a hurry. Of course, competition is healthy, but here we have learned that not every time competition could be healthy. Moreover, in the quest to overtake Apple, Samsung crammed a lot of features into this smartphone. They were not aware of the quality. Millions of pieces were sold within days. The worst thing was that Samsung tried to suppress the information about the Note 7 explosion incidents. They tried to copyright the parody videos, which came against Samsung. Within no time, the media caught that, and it backfired on the company. Still, Samsung is an empire. With their innovative foldable phone and all, revenue flowed into this empire. They even outgrew Microsoft and Google. From its humble beginnings to now, Samsung is like a baby turned into a powerful personality. It's an incredible journey. No matter what, Samsung will come to the world market with its innovative products because what Lee believed in was diversification. All this will continue till the government and Samsung are bros. Okay, that was all. If you liked this video, then give it a thumbs up. Share your Samsung gadget story in the comment section below. Are you guys satisfied with your product? More videos will appear on the screen now. Click on them and enjoy. We'll be coming with other interesting content. Stay tuned. Goodbye.